Hello and happy Saturday night. We've got exciting collegiate action. We've got Texas A&M Maroon versus Kentucky. My name is Anthony Malum, and I've got with me MajinBuusha, not to mention production, running through, first time, Ferendum. Exciting matchup. Majin, there's a lot of lore behind these two teams. There's almost too much for us to dive into kind of off the beat, but it's an exciting one to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. These have traditionally been among the top 6, 7, 8 programs, maybe even higher at times in Collegiate Smite history, let alone in our AGL Collegiate Smite history. Kentucky, known as the Giant Killers, a team that historically plays against the best teams and can take games or sets off of them. Maroon, I mean, they're usually near that top end and can compete with anyone. So this should be very exciting to watch.
It should be, and giant killers versus a heavily favorite team. We had AP polls. We had people give their thoughts. And Majin, it was not only were the responses quick, but they were plentiful.
Yeah, they were very quick, and just to put this in perspective, if I remember correctly, there were 20ish plus people that voted on the first AP poll, the public. So the number one voted team is A&M Maroon. Second was actually Kentucky. So are they really giant killers going forward? Are they more towards like being favorites, co-favorites? It's just going to be very interesting. I will say that Kentucky got the fourth most first place votes, while Maroon took it by a landslide. They had 9. St. Ambrose and another team had 3. But I think it was just those teams' players voting for themselves, to be honest, because I think those are more middle of the pack.
I mean, if you're not going to vote on yourself, why vote at all?
Oh, 100%. I don't disagree. Or you could be like Freezing Fantasy and vote for just A&M Maroon in all 5 places and get it removed. But that's
what
cool.
a power move, honestly. And a lot of that draws back to the kickoff tournament, which took a lot of turns that we were not expecting. Both of these teams land on the podium, but how they got there is what's so fascinating.
Yeah, actually, surprising to see A&M fall to UCSB in the semifinals. They destroyed UCSB in relegation, so that you would have think that they would take that spot and go to finals, but they didn't. They fell in that second round. However, Kentucky, they had some adversity too. They fought Clemson in the first round. I think they were down 6 or 7K in the first round game. Only had 2 players with a positive KDA, found a way to come back and win that game. They handled their business against ASU Maroon next up. I think only Flux had a positive KDA, and that's not what you want when you have a Nike Solo being your only positive KDA. And then to exactly, and then to end the finals, which was pretty interesting to watch. I mean, Dank had 5, 6, 11 Camazots, but if you know with this Camazots, this is going to be pressure, right? But, I mean, it's triple assassin for UCSB, Thoth in the mid lane, and then a Kuzubo in that support role. And both these teams just went at it. It's a best of one. Let's just scrap it out. And that's exactly what they did. And at the end of the day, Kentucky came out the victors.
They did, and now, I feel like Maroon probably has a big chip on their shoulder, having come just short of being in that matchup themselves, and maybe wondering, could we have been that difference? Could we have really brought it to Kentucky in a way that UCB didn't? But that does lead us to what we have in front of us. Again, that matchup between A&M Maroon and Kentucky, and with the picks and bans out, we unfortunately are only able to look at the picks. But this is an exciting matchup, and there's some picks in here we haven't been seeing at the top of the meta recently, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Vamanen coming out for Super Death Fang. I mean, he's definitely one of the players, kind of like, there's the Baskin that'll pull the Vamana out, or, there's certain players that'll pick it. But this is a pick that SDF really does like historically, so nice to see that here. VMS Froggy on the Bastet, not that common, but also the Shiva. Not seen so much this year, but have maybe a couple of matchups, but also we've seen Camazot start to rise up a little bit lately, but they also have a Pele on this team. Looks like Control I8 is gonna just press W key into this Oleron into that duo lane.
Yeah, that's kind of Control's thing, really on any pick that gets grabbed. But another interesting player, and you talked about the Shiva a bit, And one of the reasons we kind of have seen it off and on is a lot of the times it's been banned from competitive play. So not just getting it if you're Kentucky, but getting it on the Tyler, who has been a standout player for them. You know, in particular, my brain goes to that Achilles. But the Shiva on Tyler, I expect maybe not laning phase, because Shiva's laning phases can be hit or miss. Vamana's going to be an interesting one to watch how that phase kind of goes out. It might end up being more quiet, but that mid to late game is where I think Tyler can be a real impact pick on the Shiva.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Shiva, like how much can you poke this Vamana down to force those ultimates so that way you can have a rotation for Bastet after the fact? Do you get a brawler's second item, first item as this Bastet to fight into this Vamana when he does ult? You know, do you do that super early? Do you do that later in the game when you're gonna be seeing this guy in team fights? It's going to be very interesting decisions coming out here. I do wonder what starters these two are going to go, but also, is Vamana going to go for the gooseberries or the bow here? That's going to be a very interesting choice.
Especially because sometimes we've been seeing, which for me has always been an odd choice, and you know, it differs person to person on how much they defend it. But we've been seeing a lot of golden gooseberries combined with a golden katana, which is not my favorite. I kind of feel like you're just overdoing it, and you could probably get a more valuable item, especially because gooseberries can be finished up so quick, and you're cooking with a full meal. But it does leave a lot of interesting paths for that Vamana to go.
I feel like in this matchup, you don't have to go Golden Blade. You can go the Gooseberries, but that also allows you to go into that Sphinx item, or you can go into Berserkers. You know, not doubling down on something that you don't need to double down on. You're going to clear the minions regardless, so who really needs it? You're going to be able to auto-attack a minion to prevent a blink from somebody initiating, so you don't really need to double down on something like that. So just going into those different options and into the Shiva, we'll just have to see what route Super Death Thing wants to go here on this Vamana.
Now that we've kind of touched on the picks that stand out, we talked about the solo lane, an extended bid. Let's kind of keep it simple and bring it back down. Between Kentucky, between A&M Maroon here, Majin, give me your favorite composition. Let's keep it simple, and which team you want us to keep our eyes on here in game number 1.
This is very interesting because if you look on one side, A&M has Athena. I mean, it's just the most contested god in picks and bans. This last month or so, Pele, the most contested jungler. The other 3 picks are just more fun style picks or comfort picks. So we'll have to see how that lands out with it. On the other side, though, Olaron plus Ganesh something at the same time. You also have a Baba Yaga who's just came back into the game a couple weeks ago. Composition-wise, I like the strongest picks. There's more stronger picks on Kentucky side. However, I'm not sure like how the Shiva is going to be the like super impactful. I mean, you have Camazot's going into the air, Athena getting away with the ultimate, moving to somewhere else on the map. Soul not only has the knockup on her ultimate, but having the Zapparate to have some immunity, avoid some CC as well. Pele could just ult out from you. So I think because of that, like I hate Shiva the pick in general, especially when it's on a guy that is really a great carry out of that lane. It's just who does he lock down and who does he threaten consistently. So because of that, I have to go with Maroon.
And it's going to be a toss-up for me. I'll be keeping my eyes on that soul lane, like you said. Shiva can be such a hit-or-miss character, but that's all of this is without looking at that carry lane, which you've talked about extensively as well. And as we prepare and we get ready to go into game, we got a ton of things to keep on the mind, because this matchup between Kentucky and A&M Maroon is not going to disappoint. Hello and welcome to game between the University of Kentucky versus Texas A&M Maroon. Exciting matchup. We talked about it a ton in Picks and Bans. My name's Anthony Malm, joined by MajinBuusha, and my friend. We really got to dive extensively on how these matchups were going to unfold, what we expect to see. But now that we've got some items online as well, we were instantly our eyes drawn to that solo lane again.
Yeah, we see this sigil start, which is, I mean, definitely, like, we saw this earlier in the year, right? We just see a very tanky Vamana, just super hard to kill, but it's all lasted twice as long then. But going into this tier 1 item, I'm assuming a Frostbound. I don't know that Tyler ever cares about this, since he can just 3 out 2 times, get his distance away. And did they just steal that buff camp away from A&M?
Gotta keep those eyes in the back of your head open at all times, Texas A&M, as Kentucky gets an early purple buff steal. That's gonna make that laning phase even tougher for an already kind of awkward laning phase with Camazotz being a massive unknown on that duo side.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it went Bluestone, so it does have great wave clear, but not the clear you would have if you had that that Bumba starter, which we've seen a couple times on some of the magical carries, namely Freya. But I mean, you want that Bluestone to have as much damage throughout the entire game. So I guess just with an Athena, maybe we think there's going to be a little bit more damage since she has the shield wall so early, but maybe not so much.
I do expect in that duo lane, one thing that will work for that Camazotz's favor is once Sanctified Fields is online and those supports have left duo lane, Camazotz can really tussle with that Olderun in an effective way, especially using that out of hell to deal with Sanctified Fields. I feel like the Camazotz might actually kind of be a sleeper pick, assuming you can make advantage of it once you get to that level 5 mark.
I do think it is one of the strongest picks into another run. Normally we would see this out of the jungle, out of the solo lane, but I mean, it's control. We've seen this guy play plenty of picks over here, especially this Camazotz before, as he is already half health right now into this fight.
Dropping even lower, we're gonna get a jump over the wall right as the blink comes in. Can this turn? Kentucky's really low, and they're getting body blocked in. It's going to help Wavy find the first blood, favoring Texas A&M. But you got to get away as well. Ganesh gets the stun off, and that's going to lead to a kill for the Bastet. So a 1-1 to start off the game. And man, if what we talked about couldn't have led to a more clear picture, 1-1 really finishes up the drawing.
Yeah, absolutely. The difference there is Control was able to loop over the wall just in time before that rotation come through from Wavy on this from VMS Froggy on this Bastet. Just able to get over the wall. She comes in a little bit too late, can't really follow him, has to commit onto the next person, which, you know, I mean, you do kill the other jungler, and you do get to be probably about a half level up now, but that's also a first blade, so that gives you a nice little lead here.
Ganesh gonna dash in, but is kind of doing so without Olderun, who is not interested in tussling at the moment. That will lead some folks to Ganesh, but thankfully not too bad. But yes, always a 2v2 like that, you get the junglers involved on that left side, that kind of sets the tempo. And it starts to give you an idea, which is always the big thing, of where the junglers have an interest in putting their pressure in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we see a thumb right there, like just showing the dominance, you know, just kind of like in kind of a little bit of ego, but really also just a damage test to see what he can take this early into an interesting matchup.
Another scrap at the shield buff. This one's gonna not go as cleanly, but not gonna lead to kills either. Athena gets away. Same thing for Control, who jumped away, got to the safety of a rotating jungle in mid. So honestly, Kentucky's probably lucky they didn't go aggressive there. Same thing towards mid, a jump in, looking for an Oracle steal, not so lucky. Still went the way of A&M. So after an exciting first couple of minutes, get close to that 4-minute mark of 1-1, things are calming down for the first time.
Yeah, they really are at this moment. Just everyone looking for whatever farms left up on the map or what's gotten ready to come up. Could you look for potential invade? Do you just go back to your side and confirm your own buffs and then maybe go back and rotate for another health buff? Do you switch the pressure to solo lane? Do you try to pick off one of these solo laners to catch them sleeping? I mean, you know, most solo laners don't really ward this early into the game. It's not usually till about 6 or 7 minutes, maybe even 8. I mean, does it even ward until 10, 12 minutes to the game, so...
Oh, House gonna be forced out from the Baba Yaga. Some pressure came early in that mid lane, just not interested in dealing with it. probably best for safety purposes, but that will give A&M some pressure in this mid lane. They're going to go aggressive for green buff invade. It was already dropped, thankfully, for Kentucky, so it goes right to the Ganesh. Ganesh and Bastet actually step up aggressive. Going to be a split at the side Harpies. Now, looking at that solo, like you mentioned, kind of wanting to go over there and see how they interact, the lack of vision. We talked about them being on an island because they're so tanky, and this matchup doesn't really turn into a kill lane. It's curious if that will happen, but action here in duo, kind of out of nowhere. Sanctified Fields was used as Oleron got aggressive. That's going to help the Bastet find one, while the Oleron cleans up the other. That's going to be a twofer for the University of Kentucky. Maybe considering more, but not available. A&M just has to retreat after Kentucky gets the better of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Wavy and Ferendum just fall there. That's the second time Wavy has fallen. Now is probably closer to a full level behind at this point. But, you know, that was the option, right? Do we go back for the third HP buff? Do we go to the solo lane? The junglers, both teams look back at the HP buff again. That's where all the action has been in this early game consistently.
Yeah, all of it. It's almost kind of surprising to me because I feel like Bastet is a character who wants more sneaky picks, you know, almost playing kind of like a Loki or maybe even a Thanatos early, just trying to play guerrilla warfare to get the damage across. Not so much in-your-face fights like we've seen, but it's worked out. 2 kills sitting on Froggy right now. That's significant for Bastet and can really set the pace as we get closer and closer to that 10-minute mark, which for me, that's always the first highlight of, all right, where's everybody at? Let's assess.
Yeah, let's definitely see what's going on here and just break down what we think is happening. Now, I do want to bring up, is that Gooseberries on Oleron?
Yes, that is Gooseberries on Oleron.
Okay, so I want to bring this up. I don't think he needs Gooseberries whatsoever. I have found much more success out of going bow and having even faster cooldowns on your 2 for that attack speed. 70% once you get it to that max rank. You're going to have that for basically like 26, 27 minutes. And to have basically your attack speed stem up 24/7, I think is more value than the Gooseberries. I mean, Oleron doesn't have any problem clearing, and he doesn't need that additional damage, really, so I think it's a little bit better.
We'll let the chat be the judge of your thought process, Boosh, but now action breaking out by the Gold Fury. A re-engage from the Bastet, and things are not looking great for Texas A&M. That's a double kill for the Oleron already, and Bastet's going to get the third. That's clean for Kentucky, and Texas A&M can just run away once again. They failed to get the better of another fight. This matchup so far has been all blue.
And now they're going to look to force down this mid lane instead of going for that Gold Fury after it's just Ferendum up, who does toss out the taunt. Is going to be completely safe, though. But they did kill the last Bastion on the right, so they're going to miss that extra 75 gold if they push the tower fully down, which they were not able to do. So I guess at the end it's still okay, but that is a lot of pressure in mid now. But the most important thing is here, you've got a Bastet with a lead being 3-0, and now you've got Revelark, who's also 3-1. That's where you want to be ahead if you're in this matchup, if you're Kentucky. So this could be a little bit scary for Maroon if they don't start changing some things around here.
You just saw the charts as we get close to that 8-minute 30-second mark. University of Kentucky is really bringing it to Texas A&M right now, but thankfully, if you are rooting for Maroon right now, you've got plenty of time to get back into the game. No game has ever ended at 9 minutes, barring trolling, essentially. So things are not all doom and gloom, but around that first Stygian Beacon, which is where we tend to kind of either see the first big team fight or no interest, which is already kind of out the window for this game. I think that's where, if Texas A&M want to find a spot to claw their way back in, that could be worth considering.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the thing is, if they would have done Gold Fury right there, it actually spawns the same time as the Beacon. So then if you lose that fight, you're going to be dealing with both.
Oleron getting heavy pressure on that duo side. There's the Bat out of hell, diving underneath the tower, but you got to clean up the kill. They will. Now you got to get out.
Oh, no.
Come out from the Ganesh. They'll get away. Ganesh just trying to buy some time for the Bastet to get there. Not sure if it's going to be possible with Athena being the lowest, but Bastet is still on the way. Ganesh is still holding W. gonna dash under the
Great.
tower to buy extra time. There's the ultimate from Bastet. They're gonna take the 2v3, and it's working so far. The jump's not gonna find anybody though. So close. Razor Whip maybe. A lot of good damage. Everybody low, but Texas A&M gets the retreat off. Soul rotation comes out. Supernova not going to find Bastet quite yet. Bastet hangs that around the wall. Baba Yaga's here too, and Froggy turns it and finds another pick. 4 kills for the Bastet.
I mean, this Bastet's just doing numbers, isn't she? I mean, hit that all brought them in just barely off that mark with the damage for the pounce onto to try to kill that jungler right there, but not gonna happen. But Kentucky do end up getting this, and here comes the ultimate from Aurora.
Wavy's really trying to make some play happen here for Texas A&M off the back of it, but it's just not available. And Kentucky will be able to get away. Gold Fury in hand. The advantage growing even more. Now that Stygian Beacon that we were talking about before, all of a sudden, that fight that I was personally thinking, all right, go take that fight, Texas A&M, get crazy at the Beacon, see what you can get from it. Now I'm much more wary than I was before. Now I'm almost kind of thinking, all right, maybe just send somebody over, see how much Kentucky is really putting prioritization on it. And if they don't look that interested, sure, take it. But if they're all there, I might not consider it.
Well, now also, like with that gold free be taken down, each objective will be up every 3 minutes, but at different times. So that if you're perfectly on time to each one, you're not going to lose both at the same time going forward. You're just going to lose out on potentially one of those. So that's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing if you're behind, because then you're not losing 2 things at once and you lost the fight, right? Now you have a chance to come back for something else later. But at the same time, as that team, if you win that fight, now you can only get 1 objective and not get 2 to really, catch back up. However, after the Beacon, if you do win that fight pretty hard, if you didn't lose any members, you could probably push down a tower mid, maybe something like that, and reverse that pressure.
Oh, dual lanes in trouble for control. Had to get out of there. Almost got picked off by the Oleron. That's not what you want in that matchup. We talked about the Kamazots maybe being able to bully the Oleron, but those days are long gone. That possibility is not there. 12 minutes. Oleron, massive pressure. Beacon spawns up. Kentucky not making as big of a deal at the Beacon as Texas A&M may have had to worry about. They get to the Beacon first. They've got advantage. Ganesh gets in. There's the Dharmic Pillars, buying some time for Baba Yaga to get there. Rotation comes out front of Amana. Shiva on the way too. Oleron, keep your eye on the left side. Could come from behind and make a big difference here for Kentucky. There's the taunt back. A&M retreating. Only 1 member still by the Beacon. It's Amana. Goes Big Baby. And now has to deal with the house. And oh boy, Kentucky is turning the fight already. Vamana down low. Has to take that Big Baby and step out. While the rest of A&M is left to deal with Kentucky. And Tyler's going to find 1. There is a pick from the Soul. That's needed, but Froggy is doing Froggy things already. 5th kill for the Bastet. Bat out of hell does force Kentucky away. They never got that Beacon. They've got a turn, but Ganesh gets a nice knock-up, and Oleron finds a pick onto control. The rest of A&M now once again forced to retreat. I feel like I've said that 10 times. This time, they full commit to the retreat. That's going to be a Beacon for Kentucky.
Yep, that's going to be each objective so far, going towards Kentucky. Now they've forced down this tier 1 in mid, so now it's going to be a lot harder for Maroon to really control the oracles that spawn up. I mean, we're going to see that Pyromancer spawn in then another 1.5, 2 minutes, so now they're just going to have to try to ward those areas and just try to show up and deter them away if possible, or potentially steal it. You never know. You do have the Supernova coming out of Frieza Fantasy. You do have some long distance AoE. You do have a reach from Ferendum as well. So we'll see.
As we were hovering Ganesh, let's talk elephant in the room. Kentucky dominating so far. The Giant Slayers are punching down currently at Texas A&M, and every time I've talked about it so far, we're coming up on that 14-minute mark now. I've kind of acted like that window is getting a little smaller, and this current meta supports one of 2 things. You either have those quick in-and-out games, or you have the barn burners, and right now, if A&M doesn't get it together, they are looking at one of those short matchups, but that window is closing, and it's closing fast.
Yeah, if they don't start turning this around in about 4 or 5 minutes or so, this could start looking pretty gloom. However, I mean, they do have double assassin and assault. So I mean, they have a lot of damage output, and I mean, to be honest, they don't need really a lot of setup for it. I mean, they do have this taunt coming out from Ferendum, but that's pretty much just forcing the beats for, in my opinion, for Wavy to go on to a target, for Control to go on to a target. Same thing with Super Death Thing.
There was a taunt that actually led to an initiation from Kentucky. Dark Pillars was the main thing used, but A&M was able to retreat early this time. Health bar is still intact. A lot of people on this left-hand side. Might have our first full team fight with everyone healthy from the start. Who's going to get the advantage of it? Keep your eye on Tyler, who's at the top of the map, already taking a fight. Sanctified Fields in front of us is used. Big Baby forced out in that Sanctified Fields, and it's doing some damage. Top of the map, Tyler could not stand the heat. Pele is going to find a kill there. They can make their way back to this fight where A&M is really bringing it to Kentucky. But Camazot's out of ultimate, no longer invulnerable. Bomana does find one pick, not over quite yet. 3 still up for Kentucky, strong to the 4 of A&M. But the 4 are kind of second-guessing going in here. They're waiting maybe on that taunt from Ferendum, who does find a good opportunity for it, gets a taunt onto the Baba Yaga. Kentucky will lose that Baba Yaga. Texas A&M have a chance at the Gold Fury.
That's the first fight we saw Kentucky lose. And you know why? That Dharmic Pillars that got dropped at the beginning of the fight, it just got back up. I mean, that taunt, that green buff, I mean, it really pulled it away, but oh no, she was back able to teleport, and they were running scared from Tyler.
Absolute scattering like cockroach behavior, and you cannot blame him. Tyler, dangerous, that healthy, already going to find one pick. It was kind of easy to find that soul who was so low. That's going to stop Texas A&M from getting that Primal Fury. Kentucky might not be able to go right to it, but they could take the chance if they wanted. Currently, only Camazot's over here to contest.
Yeah, you do hate that as Maroon winning that fight, and then next thing you know, guess what? I come back with full health. You're all 1 HP. Let me just teleport in and run at you, find a pick, and just make you pay for that. But now, this Gold Fury's been started, but there's a little bit of fighting going on up front.
I'm starting to think nobody's ever going to get this Primal Fury. Controls at the back line, has a chance to go in. Front line, Primal Fury is pretty low. Who's going to get it? Two-man taunt comes out from Ferendum, and it's working wonders on Kentucky, who's fallen apart. But Tyler holding things together so far, finds one under Wavy. So far, that's a 2-for-1. It favors Texas A&M, but they've got to get more. They got to make it worth it. Primal Fury has been dropped completely. Vamana going to look at the Baba Yaga. A blink pass from Faragi, who runs into some damage from the Camazots and has to walk away.
Frostbound, baby.
One, while Control finds the other, and Soul gets the third. That's a deicide. Maroon back in it.
Okay, so what circus is this game being played at? I have to ask. I mean, Maroon wins that fight 4-2. Then they lose to a teleport and a jungler rotation, and then they win a complete deicide at the Gold Fury. Then get their first ejected of the game. Like, now, I mean, they now have a gold lead, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 2K at this point?
Yeah, just the charts skyrocketing. 2K for gold, 4,500 for experience. Absolute disaster zone for Kentucky, who had such a strong early. That window we were talking about, that was closing. Texas A&M absolutely broke the window. It's in pieces. They stepped through. They're having dinner.
Yeah,
in the background. It's their house now.
Yeah, and you know, like we mentioned at 13 minutes, if Maroon didn't do something in the next 5 minutes to really turn this around, then it's looking pretty gloom there. But they did exactly that. They found some way to turn this around. I mean, couple of overextensions by each team that lead to them getting a deicide and a Gold Fury, and Pyromancer just went down. So, I mean, they've turned the tide. They now, after being behind the entire game, basically, have now gotten a 3K gold lead.
One of the things that worked so well for Maroon there was we saw the strengths of their picks. Ferendum got taunts exactly when needed. Control was causing the perfect amount of havoc in the backline. Consider doing the same to Olrun there, who does get away. The Bat Out of Hell was used perfect. Soul was able to use that damage over time, that Supernova, actually effectively. Everything was clicking where Kentucky has forced A&M to be so sporadic this entire game. They haven't been able to do that. And the first 2 times we've seen it, it worked.
And speaking of the Soul, I like this idea of the build coming out. Book of Thoth going into 2 items that have mana, but also lifesteal. Bancroft's Talon, probably going to be a Claw Leader. Going to Typhons, going into Soul Reaver or Polynomicon right here. This is, every item's going to have mana, which is giving you so much more power conversion.
2v2 on the left-hand side. Ferendum will be able to get away. Control took significant damage, but not going to get picked off by Kentucky. The days of one-shotting that Camazotz are in the past, as now Camazotz actually sitting at a level lead over the Olderon. 10 minutes ago, that felt impossible.
I was about to mention that he was 2 levels down ever since that first gank rotation, pretty much. I mean, and then for him to be active in these fights, have 6 assists, and now is actually a half or a full level up on Reveal Arc. I mean, remember Reveal Arc was 3-1 at one point about 10 minutes ago. Now it's completely opposite. It's 4-4 and 5.
There's a taunt on Baba Yaga. Soul not going to quite follow up. Kentucky all grouped up by this Oracle, and Control is there. Will get silenced out. It's taking some good damage. Has to play the save. Can't even get into battle in time before Froggy gets the pick. Now Kentucky will turn, and they look for more. Dark Pillars come out. Supernova used defensively. Tyler leads the way. The Shiva Tendava, let's dance all over that Soul and chase down Soul to the tier 2. Gonna dive really deep. Now get taunted under that tower. Taking it for a long time. A lot of poke onto the Shiva. That's gonna end the dive for Kentucky, but still a big pick on the Camazotz.
And you know, they can afford to dive like that because what's on the map? Nothing, just Fire Giant, and I don't think you can do it quite yet. Not when you can just maybe continue to. Not the way it's going. I don't think you could do that. I mean, now, there's only one person in the area currently. You could maybe start it to bait a fight. You do have Sanctified Fields. You do have Home Sweet Home. You do have Bastet's ultimate as well. So 3 ults to 2 right now. 4 ults almost with Thumb getting the Dharmic Pillars coming up really soon.
You know, we talked about how impressive the last couple fights were from Maroon, but I got to give credit where credit's due to Kentucky. That fight was so clean. The pressure of the Shiva leading to the follow-up, Kentucky having clean comms of, all right, we chase here. And now, speaking of the comms and the strategy, they're going to call a Fire Giant. A lot of Texas A&M's on the left-hand side of the map, but there is people to contest with here. They've got to deal with a lot.
I think they're looking for a bait.
Doing okay. Can they get it? Gold Fury goes the way of Texas A&M on the left side. Now those two got to rotate on over. Can they get there in time? Kentucky still hanging out in the ring. Going to be a 50-50. It's going to go to the University of Kentucky. Now with fire around their belts, they want to pick to go alongside it. That bait turned into a 50-50, turned into a dead Athena for the University of Kentucky. A&M at this point will try to just get what they can. Maybe they can sneak a tier 2 in mid. Here comes Kentucky.
Yeah, I thought they would bait them in and then pop down to Sanctified Fields, but instead they decided, you know what, if they step in, they can't damage us faster than we can. They're going to be half the time that we are. So we're just going to burn this down, confirm it, then chase them down. Whoever we can get after the fact is just bonus.
That's a dead soul. Absolutely caught out in that purple buff. Just nowhere to go after the tier 2 call from Texas A&M. Kentucky will get one more soul to go alongside that Fire Giant, which once again has made this game swing. You know, I did not expect this to become such a back and forth matchup after how the start of the game went, but we're here, and the way that this meta works, that kind of starts leading to it being a longer drawn out game as opposed to one of those quick games.
Yeah, and you know what? What is freezing supposed to do there? Every single lane, every single option to get out is covered by multiple members. So I might as well try to sell a purple buff. Like at this point, I'm done either way, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there was nothing else that could have been done there.
Yes, for sure. And at this point, I mean, look at the graph. It's just all over the place. Kentucky, for a long time, having that lead. Maroon, then getting a 3K lead. Kentucky having the 2K deficit at the Fire Giant, being the one saying, hey, we're going to play like we have the lead. Then they get it. And now Maroon Kentucky's brought it back to an even state in gold and pretty close in experience too. I mean, you're looking at 18 and 18 in the ADCs, 1 level lead for Freezing in mid, 1 level lead for VMS Froggy in jungle. I mean, it's just like barely a little bit of experience. It's not a lot, but if you look at the builds, I mean, they're not too far off there either. I mean, you've got some carriers that are touching that upgrade now, or you've got, I mean, let's look at Oleron. He's got only Diamond Arrow to go into last on this before he can sell the Gooseberries. He's already swinging. Every item except for Telkines has some sort of penetration on it as well.
And the Oleron is somebody who has been a sleeper for Kentucky You know, a lot of these fights we've been talking about the set, understandably so, but see, right here, look at that damage that comes out. That's going to force the Athena back already. Now they turn their attention to Vamana. Sanctified Fields comes out, Big Baby used. Might not matter. Dark Pillars used. Can the Big Baby get away? He actually does. Now Bat Out of Hell comes out. Soul did fall to Bastet. And now it's starting to crumble. Kentucky's got themselves 2 picks, but there is 1 in response. There's 2 in response. 2 for 2 so far. Control finds Tyler. That's turning things around. There's another right in front of him. It's going to be a double kill for Control. And Texas A&M do not allow Kentucky to hang out inside the Phoenix without making them pay for it.
And that's after losing 2 members on a 50-second timer, like right immediately. I mean, they're still going on to this onto King 1 here on this Baba Yaga, and whether they're gonna get a kill or not is to be questioned. But oh no, never mind. There's apparently Blink knock up. Oh, she limps out, but oh, she's the most important. Oh my God.
I respect the effort, but eventually it's got to go down. It's gonna be a delayed triple kill for Control, a deicide for Texas A&M, and they needed it. Once again, those charts jump back. Looks like my sleep schedule. 18 to 17, 25 minutes. We've got a game on our hands.
Well, and also that's the second time that Texas A&M has gotten a deicide when University of Kentucky had a lead of any sort. Like that's the second time this game we've seen this. So, is this Maroon just knowing how to play these fights against Kentucky? Or is Kentucky just slipping? I mean, we saw the damage in mid, Oleron throwing out so much, and we talked about how the Basset's been popping off as well. But then, what happens after that? I mean, we use Sanctified Fields on a character that's just gonna have a long CC immunity. I think if we save that, we probably see something else happen.
Can't afford to let that happen. Ganesh gets picked off. Oleron does find a response, and Tyler gets one too. What happened there? It looked so simple, but Texas A&M are getting turned on. Control trying to swing things back in favor of Maroon does find one. They're going to step to that tier 1 tower after the Titans both fall. Texas A&M have 1 in their sights. Damage good, but not interested yet. Waiting for the right moment. They're all grouped. Kentucky still in left. Fight could break out any second.
Could any second. This is a 3v3 scenario here. I mean, both teams are just trying to look for a poke and just play safe at the same time. However, Ferendum just was walking right behind Tyler that entire time and decides to turn around.
Bastet goes aggressive. Bat Out of Hell is drawn in response. A nice taunt from Ferendum. And Control was waiting on the other side from that taunt. Vamana's going to get the credit for Froggy. Texas A&M want to take their pick and have it too. Try to get away. Kamazat is the last one left behind, but thanks to the jump, should be all right. Vamana will make sure of that. Texas A&M will be able to back up. Kentucky can relax after a very drawn-out fight that they, you know, arguably didn't even need to take in the first place over those Titans, having had that tier 1 still up. That brings us to a tie in kills and only a 3k gold differential favoring Texas A&M. You know, this game is taking too many turns almost.
Anthony, do you know what this game says to me so far?
That I should pitch a tent.
Well, that is very much true. We should be doing that as okay. They do confirm that over the Ganesh there.
But no,
however, to me it says these are 2 teams that have come to really show who's the better team. I mean, we've seen both teams just have great clinical moments, but we've also seen, I mean, again, Maroon twice has gotten a deicide win below. Kentucky has had amazing starts to fights, and sometimes they finish them, and sometimes they're not able to. Something else happens on the map. I just think these 2 teams are they've shown up, they're ready to play, and this has been really exciting to see. And I know you mentioned earlier, usually you see one or 2 type of games in this meta. You either see like a 22, 23-minute game and you're out, or you see something that's a little bit longer, like a 40, 45, 35, something in that area. And right now, we're looking for the second fire giant of the game, and it might be EFG at that point.
This is the tournament winner versus the overwhelming favorite. Those 70 points for Texas A&M, we've seen those, but that tournament victory from Kentucky, that giant slayer attitude, we're still seeing that. On paper, it actually is matching up to what we're seeing in front of our eyes, and that's a rare occurrence. And really, like you said, it says a lot about the 2 teams. And now at 29 minutes, we're just going to be waiting for that EFG. And it looks like both teams aren't going to be interested in forcing the issue before that 30-minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not quite 29 on the clock. Both teams looking for, oh yeah, they're both looking for whatever they can find. Control, some poke, forcing people back to base. Can they force relics? They're just looking for anything they can while being safe. But Control is back here all alone behind everyone. They don't know all the Screech is off the mark, so is the Bat, so just a wasteful opportunity there.
A huge pick, but it's going to turn into a 1-for-1. Jungle gone, mid gone, respectively. But they're going to find a solo 2, double kill for Wavy. There's a 2-man taunt in, back to Wavy. Pele's got good setup to make a lot happen here. Oleron very low, will find the pick on the Wavy, but Control's going to get that Oleron too. That's 3 down already for Kentucky, and they got to fight against 3 strong from A&M. The house to get away from the Bat out of hell, not working great so far. Another great taunt. That's another death for Kentucky. 4 down again. How many times have we seen Kentucky turn oh so gray? Now Texas A&M step to that tier 2.
Yeah, that's going to be gone, and I mean, you're already here this far, the full wave. Might as well pressure this tower and take this Phoenix rather, and take it down if you so can. Which they do have the damage. I mean, look, it's Vamana, an auto attack based character, pretty much. Control alt I full damage, has Hydras. Has a full build as well, fully upgraded starter, just missing the fully upgraded relics, which I mean that's 1,000 gold, which he may have that in hand pretty soon. I mean, look, that's exactly what A&M was looking for. That's also what Kentucky was looking for. Unfortunately, only one of those teams can come out on top of that situation, and this time it was A&M Maroon. Now they get to step up, get the ward pressure on the other side, on the enemy's side of the map. Make sure they can keep wards off of that fire giant that's now in EFG. It's enhanced, so this next fight is very important. It could be the deciding factor in how the rest of the game goes.
Yeah, these EFGs, those first EFGs, they always kind of tell the story of, all right, are we looking, we talked about early with a 23-minute game to the long game. Now we're at, does EFG get taken? Are we looking at a 35-minute game? Or does EFG fights, does everybody kind of die on both sides? Do things get reset? Are we looking at 45 minutes? There's a lot of different ways this could go. Maybe it starts with a pick on Tyler in solo lane, forced into that Shiva Tandava very early. Not going to be able to survive it, and Wavy gets the credit. Solo lane gone for Kentucky, and they play around Tyler a lot. That's a big part of their play style. Now Texas A&M have a huge advantage with his EFG around the corner. Wavy gets pulled back in and gets dropped by Bastet. A massive pick right in response. That could stall things out. Another great 2-man taunt from Ferendum. Big Baby slamming on Baba Yaga, who's in the house, trying to escape it. Won't be able to. Keep on slamming Vamana, looking for more. Finds a double kill.
That thing going crazy.
Find more, maybe. Froggy finds a pick on the Freezing Fantasy. Vamana chasing that Bastet out. Backline 2, separate fight. Control's going to find a pick onto that Ganesh. That's 4 down for Kentucky again. Boosh, they just cannot hold these fights down. Vamana will chase this Bastet to the end of the earth.
But it's being distracted. I mean, they could be potentially ending on this Titan right now at the wave, but they're continually chasing this Bastet out. I mean, you don't have enough damage with just Ferendum on and Athena and the Kamazots, but they are going to kill her. Can they get at least a tier 2 tower and look at a Pyromancer right after? We'll just have to see what happens here.
I do like the call to not get too aggressive, but like you said, they maybe could have gotten a lot off that, and they did fall for the chase of the Bastet for probably way too long.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, blink in from Tyler, looking for Control, who's very low and might just have to accept it, and will. That shutdown gold in the pocket of Tyler as well. 25-29. This game is just, what doesn't it offer?
Yeah, it offers everything, and in that situation, Control alt is not eating. He is dying in the situation. I mean, leaps and then instantly just gets dove on by Tyler. I mean, Tyler now with 7 kills out of the solo lane. Deathfang sneakily somehow has 8 kills. I mean, he's just really going on people, but you can see the Baba can never get away. House or not, they're just pretty much a house call at that point.
And let's talk about those taunts this entire game.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you. Like, Ferendum's been getting double taunts the entire time. Like, always at the right time, the most opportunistic. They're always getting value off of them, too. They're either finding a pick, or forcing people back, or opening up a side of the map because of it. Forcing a Dark Pillars earlier about level 10 when they were looking at the first Gold Fury on the map. I mean, I mean, which led to their first deicide of the game as well. I mean, there's so many things that has happened at the hands of each player so far, but those taunts have been, to me, the most important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ferendum is not somebody you can count out, especially if you're in the side of Kentucky. At this point, you got to prepare for those taunts and play around it. Maybe even, you know, we see this Ganesh rocking Divine. Maybe consider dropping it and picking up an Absolution.
You know, that's a great point, but the only thing about Absolution is you can only use it when you ult, and they've been ulting offensively quite a bit.
We saw it right there. Dark Pillars used offensively, kind of defensively, actually, to help Kentucky escape from the big baby of Texas A&M. So maybe Absolution not to play. Maybe at this point it's just surviving and preparing for the taunts. Fight in mid lane, Control gonna take on the Shiva and get back up too. Wavy will find it, is low on the back end of things. Bastet gonna look for the pick on the Pele, but got low in the process. Oleron does get the Camazotz, but not before Freezing finds Froggy. That's 2 gone for Kentucky, only 1 for Texas A&M, and that 1 is Control, who's done a lot. But Kentucky losing the solo laner, losing their jungle, A&M could force a fight.
Yeah, I think that maybe the best use of triple taunt for Ferendum with some auto attack damage coming out from Solo's back to continue the fight.
It just doesn't stop, and Freezing's gonna find 1 already, and it was the Oleron. Gets prepared for more, chases down the Baba Yaga. The house was used, and that forces Soul to get away. Ferendum is just standing waiting, ready to take this Baba Yaga, just needs somebody to help out. That somebody is Wavy. Baba Yaga gone, only 1 remaining again. Seriously, count how many times I've said that, and it's the Ganesh. Texas A&M start up the EFG. This one's gonna be for free, as the Ganesh will not contest.
Yeah, looking DJ there, betting the house, but the dealer won that time, unfortunately. The Dark Pillars really sealed the fate after they were looking to jump away. Didn't have it quite up off cooldown, but even then, they didn't really have anywhere to get away, like, completely 100%. Yeah, they did not wait for Control.
It literally was 1 second.
That's, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's a keyboard smacking moment.
I'll tell you what. That is I'm sorry, Control, that your team hates you so much that they can't even give you EFG.
Yeah, absolutely. Shocked.
I don't have any words of encouragement for you here. All I can say is
Control play Camazotz.
maybe this is the time they're getting back for him for picking it, but I don't know.
Like they're like, oh, if you were Rama, we would have held.
Yeah, exactly. If you're Rama, somebody important with auto attacks, maybe we just, maybe we do something. Maybe even Hachi, something like that.
Ishtar's been very good the last couple of days.
Yeah, she has been.
You don't know if it was banned, but Chernobog.
Yeah, Cherno's an option. I was just assuming it was banned, like you were saying. You're implying that this probably was banned. Probably was. You're right. I would imagine. I mean, even Artemis is not horrible here either.
Texas A&M with a massive lead, as you saw, only grew after that primal. And Kentucky is now on full defense mode. One thing working well for them is while we're at 38 minutes, just before, there still is some towers standing, so they've got a little bit to prepare for the oncoming siege.
Yeah, they do, and this left side is being pressured right now. Right side does have a little bit of help on that tier 2 tower. Remember, that's where Control died because he leaped to get the heal, and the next thing you know, Tyler's around the corner here to kill him. But now there's a full wave. There's 4 members showing, 1 for jungle for Texas A&M on this left side burn. They do have a bomb from the Pyromancer earlier, so Ferendum does have that in hand. This could be very important. But they're just waiting it out, waiting for that mid lane to maybe push itself up forward, maybe for a backside gank, potentially. There's a lot that could happen here.
I love the way Kentucky is positioned. They're set up in a way that A&M can't send the Camazotz in a weird route and get the drop on them without Kentucky knowing. Oh, but here come the blinks out from Texas A&M. Screw it, let's go in the front door. A lot of damage finds Tyler right away. Bat out of hell already used, but Tyler was able to get away and survive for the time being. A&M steps into the Phoenix ring. There goes the Dark Pillars, trying to slow things down. They're going to get that duo-side Phoenix, and they might get more with it. Wavy's trying to make a play happen, but it's going to get picked off by the Oleron before he can get more. Now Kentucky step back, ready to push A&M out. Going to be a double kill for the Oleron. Now A&M have to retreat. siege failed. You lost your jungle, you lost your ADC. How much more can you afford to lose? Vamana gonna be stuck in between everybody. And Bastet, excuse me, that was a soul. Bastet gonna find that soul. Kentucky, say get out of our home.
In this big game, I mean, it's 40 minutes of the game. They've got only a Phoenix that they need to take down. We still have a dive into this all on. I mean, now it's a 4v2 instead. You don't have the OO, and they continue to force more damage onto Super Death Thing with the other 4.
Stall tactics at its finest. This might look silly, but this Vamana is going to keep Kentucky from ending the game, having that possibility. Just like you said, he can just run and run and run for as long as he'd like, and every second does matter as those respawn timers for A&M tick down. He's going to fall to Bastet, but the good work is done. The hero tactics work out.
I'll tell you what.
For Texas A&M.
Hats off for Super Death Thing buying so much time there. I mean, I couldn't... Oh my gosh. Like, I don't think Chronos could adjust the clock like that. I mean, he just really worked the clock for them. I mean, they do end up losing like another member like in that time frame, but getting Reveal Arc out was massive there because now they don't have the auto attack damage to really pressure as much as they want to in that mid lane to look for an end. And now we're 40 minutes to this game, and I mean, I don't know who's gonna win, man. I really don't. Like, I know there's a tier 1 tower, tier 1 Phoenix down on the left right now. I don't know that it matters because the way this game has gone, I mean, we've seen comebacks on both sides. I don't know what to say.
Well, one thing they've got going for them, they being Kentucky, is that while that duo side Phoenix is down, they can afford to have that Baba when they spawn up go to left lane to deal with minions. If they want to go contest while they wait for Baba, they can. They also have the option of sending Shiva to defend that left lane while they push up. Texas A&M definitely have the advantage of the EFG, but things are not dire yet. They're close, but they're not dire yet for Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, I mean, we've got a grouping here in mid. They're going to dive. Yeah, you cannot.
Yeah, you cannot get picked there. They got to get out of there quick.
Looks like they're safe for now. I mean,
that was scary. It was a jump scare.
The best part is Control was not even close to that. They were like near these back camps looking for anybody to come across to poke damage onto. Everybody else just deathballed and was looking to pick somebody off.
A&M will posture up. They have the advantageous position for the Fire Giant. So Kentucky has to show their hand if they want to go and make a play for it. Some light poke. Bastet could be in trouble. Tyler will be the one left behind. Taunt in. Got to keep everyone alive here. You can't afford to lose picks, Kentucky. Texas A&M know that too. They want to find some. Aggressive play comes out, but damage is good in response to Vamana. There's a Sanctified Field. So far, Texas A&M holding strong. It's going to be one pick for Kentucky. Wavy's going to get a return. The Baba Yaga's going to find Wavy. That's a big shutdown on that Pele, who was able to do a lot there. Tyler still aggressive, very low, easy pickings, taunt in, nobody there to follow up, however. Kentucky, messy, but they got it done.
That might have been the first time I've seen an aggressive ult used from Baba because she's so used to being dove on. And then when she had it up, Kama just leaps over the wall and says, yeah, I don't want to deal with you. Like, just unfortunate, the one time that she could just ult offensively just could not be used effectively. And they almost lost the left side Phoenix again, but Tyler going to be able to hold on to that, thankfully for Kentucky.
Control will set up deep by blue buff. Maybe looking for a pick, can heal off the blue buff. No harm done there. Texas A&M, I mean, they're winning the big fights. That's been a constant theme. But Kentucky has not given up any shred of a shot for Texas to finish, to close out. Every time that's a possibility, Kentucky has somebody make a big-time play to hold things down. And Texas A&M has to figure out the answer if they want to get around that, because you can't keep making those same mistakes. As these 3 K-Pots get online, as everybody has now completed their builds for the most part, you can no longer let little mistakes happen. You have to have some kind of cohesive plan. What we saw, the chaos of that last fight, that can't happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just rechecking the builds just now, and wait, little 1v1 action in the solo lane with these two assassins, but looks like Froggy's gonna win this one.
Control going to be forced to go away. That's going to be a defender for Olympus forced, as well as Bat out of Hell. Dark Pillars was used by Kentucky, so it's one ultimate they've got down. Tyler going to go aggressive with a blink. The Shiva Tandava to follow. Going to look for that Kamazats, who was still hanging around. Control has to get out. Is 1 HP and may just get out. Tyler, now the one in trouble, gets forced away thanks to a good taunt and a lot of damage from Texas A&M. Fire Giant's been started up in the meantime by University of Kentucky. Sanctified Fields to help things out. It's going to go to the University of Kentucky, but it's close, and Texas A&M can follow things up. Oleron gets a kill on the Wavy, standing strong, auto strong, but Soul will have none of that and finds a double kill. Kentucky now has to retreat. Control, not going to let that happen. Finds Tyler. There's the dash from the Athena. Here comes Texas A&M. Kentucky on defense once again. Almost lost Baba Yaga. And Bastet in bad territory as well. Texas A&M already at the Phoenix line.
If they lose Baba, that's automatically game, but because Baba's up, because she has a silence, because she has multiple potions available, I mean, there's a chance there's a lot of poke that can come out to dissuade them from being able to end this game. Now, they're trying to figure out a way to even get this Phoenix down, and they do it pretty easily.
They're going to head to the duo side next. There's a tier 2 tower still alive in the solo lane, keeping Texas A&M from heading there. Bastet will look for some grabs on the other side of the wall. Not going to find an ultimate quite yet. Baba, a wonderful defense character with the Baba's Brew. We see it right there. Serious damage, but Texas A&M do get that duo side Phoenix. Again, they have a tier 2 on that right-hand side, so that might be all. Froggy gets aggressive, but can't quite find a pick. Baba's here for backup, depending how crazy Froggy wants to get. Ferendum gets caught, has to dash away. Here come Kentucky.
That's crazy right there. Froggy just dodged into the vampire bats. It's so unlucky. Like as a player, you're like, oh, I don't want to get hit by the one thing that's going to heal my enemy and do the most damage to me. Oh, let me just backstep it. Oh, I just stepped right into it. Okay.
That defense. I mean, Froggy basically puffed up their chest with Baba behind them, and you know, don't talk to me or my son, get out of our house kind of thing. And Texas A&M had to fold. They had to follow it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see who has the most damage in this game. If Ferendum, if you could press the keyboard number 5, it'll pull that up. Yeah. Soul, actually, I didn't think Soul would have the top damage. 52k so far in this game.
That's pretty significant, and we've seen it, especially in these last few fights. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that damage has come from the last 3 to 4 fights we've seen. But now to the matters at hand. Kentucky, outside the Phoenix of Texas A&M. Fire minions will pour in that left side. There's a taunt from Ferendum, but no poke to follow. Texas A&M do have a strong defense themselves that we've been talking about. Vamana diving in the back line, trying to open up a way for Texas A&M to go in. Defender's Olympus going to follow too. That's going to be a taunt right in that back line, and Kamazats is there. Damage galore for Texas A&M, but they're not making it work perfect quite yet. Wavy's going to find one, but get dropped by Tyler in return. Oleron, ever the problem, going to find control, and that's 2 down for Texas A&M. And with Kentucky at your door, you can't afford to lose 2.
You can't, and now this is a 4v3 situation. This middle bird is being aggressed on, but looks like there might be someone falling. It might be Thumb, and where did they go?
That's a massive one. That's going to be followed up by a kill from the Soul. 2 more gone for Kentucky. They find themselves on the back foot. Double kill for the Soul. Tyler, the lone survivor. So all of that turns into one single Phoenix for Kentucky. They lose everyone. And Texas A&M is kind of no worse for wear.
Well, here's the thing. Texas A&M, technically, you know, usually in that situation, they would just walk down mid in the game. Guess what they can't do? They can't do that because the Titans are in right side because of this beacon mechanic that's been in the game for a couple months now. I mean, that has got to be frustrating. You're like, we won this fight, we turned this around, let's go in the game. Oh, you know what? We can't do that. Thanks, game mechanic.
But now that they got it, they have their Titan pushing up. Tier 2 going to fall.
And it is a 5v2.
They have the perfect chance.
Yeah, right here is a 3v2. You got the other two coming up mid, so they're going to equal out that pressure for the minions, and the dive on to VMS Froggy. Not going to be a whole lot here, but ultimate is coming out as well.
Texas A&M realized they've got a ticking time bomb with the respawn timers of Kentucky, so they're trying to make the play happen. They're going to look for Shiva first. There's the Bastet 4 back up, but the Bastet jumped right into Supernova and paid for it with a Graycation. Can the rest of Texas A&M rally together? Oh, yes, they can. Double kill for the Soul, thanks to some massive help exactly when it was needed. Just as soon as 3 respawn, 2 die for Kentucky. They're going to have to defend with Baba Yaga, Olderun, and Ganesh.
And they've got the tools to do it. Every single ultimate is up. The most, the ones that matter the most right now are your support and your ADC. That Sanctified Fields, Dharmic Pillars, both slowing the enemies, both, doing massive things in a squared area.
Here they go. Wavy got aggressive with Volcanic Lightning and did find good poke onto the Baba Yaga and forced Baba to go back to the fountain. That will open up an opportunity for Texas A&M to grab a Phoenix, but it was only Ferendum there. They will get it regardless. That's all Phoenix is down for Kentucky. That's the worst spot you can be in Smite. And Texas A&M know that. They're going to try to reset, buy their time, group up as 5. Now with all those Phoenixes down and an EFG on the map, the play is clear.
I'm just disappointed because we just talked about having the most important ultimates in the game on that defense, and neither one of them were used. Only Baba ult was used to get away. Neither of the old ones that can say, hey, you can't do this here right now. Those 2 ultimates, yeah, they weren't used at all. They're still available to be used right now in this moment. Massive misplay for the dual lane of Kentucky right there. Maybe they think it still gets taken down anyway, but who's to say you don't earn a massive fight if you combo those 2 correctly with the Baba Yaga following up.
Pyromancer will go to Texas A&M. Kind of the ringing the doorbell before entering the house kind of thing with EFG around the corner. I don't see a world where Kentucky can do more than send maybe one person to just throw a singular ability, if that. It looks like they will take the wisest of those choices and just concede this EFG and accept the 5-man siege that will follow.
I think I would send one person because you have all Phoenixes down anyway. Like, the fear usually is, oh, if we go up there and die, we lose all our Phoenixes. They're already down. All the Phoenixes, what do you have to lose just to send one? So they're probably Froggy would be the best because of the Bastet leap and being able to distance themselves. But I think sending them would be worth a risk, but unfortunately, that's not what we got here. We got a decision to say, you know what, we've been struggling to do some defense. Maybe we just didn't, use those ultimates last time. I think this time we can bait them into a fight, and maybe we can do some turning around here.
Vamana blinks in the back line. 35 to 45, 52 minutes. Is this your end? Vamana saying screw it and going right for the Titan as Big Baby, but the rest of Texas A&M hasn't gotten the memo. They're still in the mid lane to not catch up with the Vamana. A 2-man shot from Ferendum to try to help things out. That's a lot of damage coming out from Texas A&M onto Kentucky, but Kentucky's still standing strong, and they're close to their fountain. The house is enough to separate. Texas A&M has to reset again. A lot of damage on that Titan, but it is still standing, and A&M cannot siege it.
Half health after reset with EFG on the waist, cannot get it below any further, and now Control is isolated with the solo laner Tyler on the other side, on that right side.
Bastet making a blink, looking for the soul, but Defender for Olympus on the way. There's a blink.
Oh, no.
Perfect on Bastet. And with everybody there, Bastet has no chance. Soul will get the credit for it. That's no more Bastet for Kentucky, so their defense just got a little bit tougher. Looks like the Control's getting up for another crazy flank, too.
And they don't have any ultimates up. They just got Ganesh's up for some defense, but at this point, you're going to need more than just Ganesh ult.
Kentucky basically playing tower defense at this point. Might lose another member. There's that Dharmic Pillars coming out to try to help Tyler get away from there. Maybe it'll work. Texas A&M once again can't find their opening. Ferendum dashes in looking for something. Looking for anything. Another 2-man taunt. But can this one have some backup? Anybody? Control will answer the call and find one, but they need more than that. Kentucky forced back into the fountain. Titan is main focus now. 65 fields for defense. Tied at 25%. It's going to drop before Kentucky can continue to defend. After 53 minutes, Texas A&M take game number 1.
Incredible back and forth action that game. It just came down to who made the last mistake. Unfortunately, that was Froggy getting picked out of mid. Did make the aggressive play, did blink into leaping onto a member, but does immediately, even though they immediately leap back, they get just gone on by all members available in the area. And you know what? They did get an ultimate off. They did like drag one person, but at the end of the day, you didn't have leap there, so you're just kind of dead. Just unfortunate because Froggy played exceptional. I mean, exceptional that entire game. Um, I mean, had 56k damage, the second most on his team, but also the third most in the game. And just that one mistake is what cost him that there. I mean, does him staying alive increase their chances of maybe prolonging this game any further? Probably,
Yeah.
but uh, that was not the choice. They went for an aggressive choice. They tried to make something happen, and unfortunately, ended up paying for it.
An incredible game number one. I, I'm kind of shocked at how things went down. I mean, at the beginning of the game, we said it. We called it perfect accidentally. We said this is either going to be, a 2-minute game or so, or 22-minute game or so. Maybe it'll be even faster than that with how it was going. Kentucky getting that dominant start, but then all of a sudden, things turned around completely, got out of control. We ended up at 53 minutes before the Titan fell.
Yeah, absolutely. And once this time you saw a 54-minute game, and Oleron has less than like 60, 70k. They just did a great job at diving him with this Vamana, with this Camazotz, having CC Moon ultimates, not caring about the Sanctified Fields, and just putting so much pressure onto him. I mean, hats off to the draft for an A&M here, just countering the Oleron so well.
Well, with that, I think you and I both deserved a short breather before we continue on.
Oh, yes, please.
To say the least. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more action between Kentucky and Texas A&M. Hello and welcome back. And game one certainly was real tough stuff. I'm Anthony Malum, joined once again by MajinBuusha and my friend. That was one heck of a game number one. It almost kind of feels insane that there's still a game two, potentially a game three to look forward to.
The only thing that would make that game one better is if we were in front of a live crowd. Like,
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
ask for anything better than that. Like, I was getting goosebumps watching these team fights go back and forth. Good fight, bad fight, good fight, bad fight. Like, unfortunate mistake, great opportunity. Like, this match had everything, and it just was absurd.
Not surprisingly, one of the first things that we see come out from Kentucky is an Athena ban, and that respect ban was deserved.
I mean, every time you looked up, double taunt coming out of Ferendum every single time. So you definitely have to do that, especially if you can't find a way to sneak in a Magi's shelter. If you can't do that for your team, then that's a little bit concerning. So they opt to ban it away, and it's a great decision because now you still have one top meta support around right now on pick that's pickable, but instead they're going to go with the best jungler on the board.
I like taking that not just because it's the best jungler, but because Wavy played crazy on it, especially late game. Early game, there were a few fights, especially on that duo side in the first 10 minutes or so, that we were kind of about, but I really like picking it up. What worries me is on the other side. The first pickup is a Camazotz, and we saw that in the ADC role last time on Control, who my favorite thing Control did, and it wasn't a bad game. You know, we did tease the Camazotz ADC at one point, but it was an objectively great game. And my favorite thing that Control did were the flanks, just constantly sitting around every corner, it felt like, just always waiting to strike, and Kentucky just always had to worry about where that Camazotz was.
They really did have to worry consistently. Now, looking at the rest of the picks so far, Camazotz with that Hades, obviously the Hades probably gone solo. Just another dive character that does well in this meta. But looking at the other side, the Morgan, I don't know that you should pick that here. I don't know that it should be picked into those two. Camazot's going to be able to make sure you can't stealth. Hades is great at diving characters that don't have CC immunity. Yes, you can turn into the Pele, but is that going to save your life later on in the game if you get surprised by a blink fear ultimate from a Hades, or when Camazot blinks onto you, tosses out two abilities before you can change into somebody? I'm a little worried about that pick already on the board.
I would agree. I will say that it plays nicely into having an Achilles, and it also plays nice into being able to be that Hades for those late game fights. So it does have some balance, but I lean more so to what you're talking about with that there's too much risk involved for the Morgan to be a completely safe pick. But I do want to really focus in and zoom in on his Achilles pick. Tyler played Achilles twice in a kickoff tournament, and both times performed excellently.
Yeah, he did play very well on those picks. The other pick he played in that tournament was Wukong, which is obviously banned out first phase. It's just an absurd pick. But he went 8-2-8 on this Achilles, paired with a Bastet actually against Clemson in that first. I'm not Clemson, sorry, against ASU Maroon. And then the second game, he does go 5-8, but has 14 assists and was just wrecking havoc onto the backline of the enemy team. I mean, no carry, had a positive KDA, not even the jungler. So he's definitely shown that he can put a lot of pressure with this pick.
One thing on the other side of things, looking back at Maroon, that's interesting, is while we did see Camazot's ADC last time, and Jingwei is a character who we've seen play mid as recently as today in the SPL, I I'd be hesitant to focus too much on it if I was Kentucky, but it demands some respect as a flex potential, where Control could be taking that Jingwei, and Camazotz could go to the jungle, and Hades is, definitely going to the solo side, but the options left open, Kentucky has to respect it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just an aggressive character with this Hades. If I remember correctly, I mean, just about every single game that um, SDF had last season, this Hades was banned away quite a lot, if not all the time. So uh, to see him get a pick that he just never gets to be put on because it's a Banjay all the time, that could be an issue if you're Kentucky here. So we'll just have to see how this goes as the second phase pick, Martikaras. So that pretty much confirms the Camazotz is going to that jungle role instead.
And that's the danger of flex potential right there. Because, I mean, looking across that board, seeing the Jing, seeing the Camazotz, knowing it was ADC, that is a mess to try to outdraft. And has put Kentucky in an awkward spot now of there's a significant amount of damage on the side of Texas A&M. The one thing they've got going, if you're Kentucky, is the tankiness factor. Unless that Camazotz jungle goes more of a hybrid build, which again we did see today in SPL. We saw a very tanky Pele play very good Smite. Then you can tear through both the front line and the back line of Texas A&M.
I don't like this Ares hover. I don't. Who do you ever pull? Like, all four of them have CC Moon ultimates. All four of them probably going to have beads. I do like this Kuzubo instead, just because, I mean, you have two hunters on the other side. You have high damage Camazotz, but they go back to Ares, man. I don't know. I think this draft is just a mistake. I think they got really tired.
Was just basically to control. Because, I mean, the Jingwei is, the movement character. If you take, and again, this is kind of looking past the CC immunity, which is hard to do. I can understand wanting to control the Jingwei, control that Hades, maybe even try to control the Kama. And Marty's somebody who, if you do catch him without that AC 130, there's a good chance you can kill him, especially with an Ares. But I agree with you in that the Kuzenbo would have been so good, because if you aren't a tanky team and you've got a Kuzenbo spitting at you, that's impossible to fight into.
Yeah, absolutely, because it would have forced maybe a different support pick than what Ferendum is going to look at here. There's a lot of things on the table. I mean, it took the second phase for the Ganesh get banned away. I mean, they obviously left over the Ares for a reason, and now they're looking at the Kuzubo because why wouldn't you? He does very well into the Morgan, does well into the Pele. Instead, going to take the Shiva that lost the last game and take him to the support role.
You will never cast a Kuzenbo again, Majin.
Nah, that's Kappa.
You have been denied, my friend. Watching where the characters go is probably the most interesting part of this. It will be Camazotz jungle. Will be Jingwei heading to the ADC side. Marty will be rocking in that mid. Shiva will be heading towards support. So very interesting composition there. And the other side of things for Kentucky, much more normal. And the Morgan, obviously, alongside that Ares, was a lot for you to mentally process. So I'm still going to ask you, I won't even ask you which composition you prefer. Give me what we can expect to see from each of these teams.
I expect Kentucky to come out swinging because at the end of the day, they're going to have to do a lot early, in my opinion, to match anything that is going to happen on Maroon's side. Maroon's, while they do have double ADC, Matikaras is typically known as more of the Meiji ADC, a true hunter you can just throw in there and build this full Uller build type of thing, and he'll pretty much get the 40% cooldown if he wants to. But I mean, late game they have Jingwei, they have Kama. They have a lot of just damage outright. Every character they've picked has a long CC immune channel. I don't think this Ares is going to have a good time. And while you could Ares ult, if you're Thumb, you could get DJ to also ult after the fact. But that might be the only times you can see someone get pulled. I'm just a little worried for Kentucky. I think they have to play aggressive in order to make this work and to try to win before you see these double hunters plus this Camazotz pop off in a late game.
A lot to look forward to, a lot to keep track of. We'll head into game, and we'll see you there with chaos between Kentucky and Texas A&M with game number 2. especially in an amateur setting, because because we don't have to hate on it. We can almost be like, let's go, get in there.
For sure.
Hello, it's time. Game 2 between the University of Kentucky and Texas A&M Maroon. Once again, my name is Anthony Malum, joined by a legendary MajinBuusha. And these compositions gave us a lot to scratch our heads about, and it should be a very interesting game number 2. The laning phase will be more than pivotal.
It definitely will be, and so far, the only adjustment as far as the buff starts are, last time A&M Maroon didn't pull all 3, but Kentucky did, and they've done that again here. So we'll see how this goes in the dual lane. Does this lead to the camp not being stolen this time? That's exactly what happened the first time, and it definitely does. They actually get to lane first. They're still looking for them to come around, and they are already in lane. This Kentucky team's gonna be behind this time. That's unfortunate.
That's a massive misplay. I mean, as Smite has progressed, that first laning phase, while still important, doesn't kill you as much as it did. I'll look at especially like in season 3 and 4 as my main examples, but it still hurts. And I mean, that's going to put so much pressure on University of Kentucky. What you're seeing right here is the Ares already down to a quarter health, forced back. A dash in from the ROM, but Texas A&M will just back up, prepared to fight the next wave as Ares is too low to contest it.
Yeah, gonna really chug through those health pots. Has 2 left right now. Has 1 ticking. Needs the wave so he can get that extra gold every time he gets an assist. Since he has this war flag, I wonder. I wonder if they even thought about the switch up here. Like if they thought if Maroon was going to do something different since I got that buff stolen the first time, but I guess they didn't consider it.
Pele does rotate over, but it's going to be a shield buff secure. Very per the norm, though. In this scenario, I almost would have liked an early look at duo, maybe relieve some of the pressure that was put on from that awkward start, but the shield buff, regardless, goes the way of Kentucky. Solo lane's in trouble for Tyler as well, forced back under that tower line. Left side of the map, Kentucky gets aggressive. Pele hung around for the perfect amount of time. First blood goes to that Pele. Control is the victim.
Yeah, Control does fall first this time. Last time, I think it was Wavy that actually fell first, and gave Ravel the first blood. This time around, no, it's gonna be Control falling, and VMS Rocky gets the first blood, and now has the Pele, whereas Wavy had the Pele last game and was really piloting pretty well, except for Froggy really won that first 20 minutes of the game or so.
Oh, for sure.
So let's see what he can do with a lead. I mean, maybe this is what they need in this game. We'll see.
After long games like that, especially in a competitive setting, they can be really taxing mentally. So it is understandable that the start of this game would feel a little awkward. But Kentucky really kind of need to step things up. They're going to lose that solo side blue buff. They're getting aggressed on the left side. Might lose the purple as well. And they will. So problems across the board. Left side, A&M going to retreat. Right side, action continues as Pele and company go deep onto the side of Texas A&M. Left side goes back in. They come right on back. Right side of the map going to be a kill for the Camazotz. Still on duo side. Ares should fall if he can escape. Does he get away? Yes, he does. Control will find it with an auto and make it clean. The Rama will barely survive. Right side of the map, we did see the Camazotz get a pick as well. So across the board, Texas A&M just really bring it to Kentucky.
They've got pressure on both sides of the map. Morgan's in right side right now, though, so because of that being there for that fight. But right now, I mean, Froggy's in mid lane, pushing that tower up, putting pressure there, trying to force Freezing to lose some minion experience and gold. But I mean, again, they've got pressure in the side lanes, and if you're going to have pressure there, it's going to be tough to revert that pressure the other way when you're losing them both right there.
And it's smart to do because Martikaris can handle the Morgan.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was really shaking.
Me too. Hairs on my neck stood up. It's why I stopped. I was prepared to yell, take a screenshot. But luckily, not today for the Morgan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is one of those starts, right? Kind of make you take a step back. It really does feel like the last game took a toll on Kentucky. Vibes are down for Texas A&M. They came in really ready to ride the momentum wave, and it's impacting the early. But I'm worried as we get close to the 5-minute mark how it might impact that mid game in particular, because I feel like the Texas A&M composition shines in not just late but mid game in particular.
And and they also just win certain matchups. I mean, how do you ever kill a Hades that's always full lifesteal, always full health bar? As the Morgan, how are you going to get away from? Oh gosh, almost got the kill there.
Ooh, but no escape. It's going to be perfect timing to bring the Hades back to the tower line. That's going to tie it up for Kentucky. Pillars backing down. It was essentially 3 kills. Texas A&M will still go aggressive after the back of it. They're going to find themselves a blue buff, and now Kentucky, despite getting a pick, get completely caught off guard from the rotation and lose out in the blue.
Absolutely, and I'll continue what I was talking about matchups. Like this Martikros into the Morgan. If you're the Morgan, how do you get away from this Martikros when he lands that root onto you, right? Like you get rooted into place, you just take the full amount of damage there. Ooh.
Control strike away for the Jing, and it looks like Kentucky might not be able to chase, but Control is baiting back to an ally. Is Ashiva enough to turn this fight around? Now the Jingwei diving, excuse me, that was the Pele diving really deep. They will head back. Jingwei will be safe. Dangerous for a moment, but they get okay. So I think you can finish that point. Maybe they'll let you get it out.
I don't know. If I start speaking again, it might just like break out with crazy action. I mean, look, they're on right camps right now. Yeah, see? Look.
You are never allowed to speak. No Kuzenbo for you, no speaking for you, no fun for you whatsoever.
No fun for you, sir. Not at all. I do not get to provide any type of analysis here. But it's just going to be difficult for that Morgan if she gets caught out by Martikros is really what I'm getting at. I mean, also to combine the damage with Wavy on this Camazotz, a little bit rough. So if you can pick your spots well, if you're looking DJ here, maybe it needs to work out. Especially if you can go alternate that Pele like you just said on the left side and maybe look for a pick. Was it successful that time, but doesn't mean you can't be successful going forward.
Let's go. You were able to get the point out.
I even added a couple extra words. I was just trying to.
I was really rooting for you for what it's
I was trying to like give it the benefit of the doubt that it would happen again, and I was just like, okay, words are done.
Maybe you just ended a bit too soon, because Tyler stepping up in lane at half health. There's a Camazotz lurking, and Wavy taking a page out of Control's book will take the stealthy gank. Fatal Strike already used. Does avoid the Screech. And avoids the bats too. But Bat Out of Hell should be more than enough. It will be. Wavy will find a pick on the Tyler. No escape used. We've seen this before, and it's going to work. Wavy will get brought underneath that tower. Ferendum on a way to try to help out the Camazotz. Will Shiva Tandava be enough to get that Kama away? Body blocks too. My goodness, it worked out. Disgusting. I'm going to wash my hands.
There's no planet on this universe that I would think that Wavy's getting out there. I mean, let's just face it. Landed one thing to get the kill. I mean, the great dodging from Tyler, of course. But like, after the fact, you think he's dead.
Oh, the disrespect, the standstill in the 1v1.
Oh my god, so
now the
low.
airstrike away. Gonna be chased out by the Pele, but maybe the Pele wasn't the best play for the Morgan. Death from above was waiting for that Morgan. The Acid's gonna get it. They're not even done. Real Pele shows up, maybe just to be sent home. That will be the case. A&M cleans house in the mid lane. And on the solo side. Oh no.
I'm really worried. We're what, 8 minutes into this game right now? I am really worried for Kentucky. I mean, they have lost pressure everywhere.
Ooh, that was actually pretty close. Credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we get another ROM snipe video to post to Twitter, but not this time.
Yeah, unfortunately that was actually down for the ROM, I guess from the 1v1 with the Jing, where Control just stopped juking in the 1v1, which is gross. But let's look at charts. 10 minutes around the corner, currently 2-7, favoring Texas A&M. Charts are too. Charts are telling quite the tale.
And also, I just want to make sure to mention last game, Gold Fury was taken around the same time, so this is a pattern. Let's keep an eye on this for a potential game 3 or the other games that could be broadcasted on Monday at 6 on the AGL channel. So we'll have to see if that's a recurring pattern in Division 1, 2, or 3, whichever gets picked up there. But definitely in this set, it's been a recurring theme.
Aries is in deep, but at this point, I think Aries is just being defiant. Texas A&M will chase the Aries pretty far. They're back by the purple buff, but it's not up. So if A&M stay, they're staying to fight. They will take steps back. Camazot's lurking in the jungle too, but it won't amount to anything, luckily, if you're rooting for Kentucky. But they're still lurking. Danger's still there. Hey, solo, or not a solo kill. Pele got involved on the solo side to help out Tyler. Let's keep an eye on this duo side. Is no escape going to be forced out? This Ares has just been taking a beating for about 3 minutes now, and it'll end in a death with Wavy getting the credit. My goodness.
This is ugly. I can't paint it to be any prettier. This is just, oh.
It's not even it's a lot of kills. It's how all these kills are happening for Texas
Exactly.
A&M.
That's the thing. Like exactly how it's falling for A&M, rather than, I mean, it's just the way they're going about it is methodical, and it's just feels rough if you're Kentucky right now. I mean, you're not out of this game by any means.
Ferendum getting Wavy out of there, 1 HP. That was one thing. Control, probably sitting like Paul in a chair and hardly using Sad W during the 1v1 with Rama just to get the kill and get away for free. I mean, all that stuff, that really does add up and start to take a toll.
Especially after a 55-minute game. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you've already played that game. Now you're like here in this situation, and you just fall again.
And they're Texas A&M, they're cutting the head of the serpent, focusing on Tyler, who we touched on. That is who Kentucky plays around in the kickoff tournament. In every game, the most consistent stat line was that solo lane. And while it wasn't the only person that played well, Tyler certainly had a good showing. And if you can keep Tyler down and on a comfort pick like Achilles that has been so good, on top of the long game, on top of the disrespectful kills, to say it takes a toll is an understatement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it does take a toll, and it's definitely been affecting them so far this game. It just feels like the scales are tipped to the other side. As I mean, look at where Control is right now.
This time, maybe we'll pay. Maybe. Nope. Nope. Gets away. There's the Aegis. The Morgan gonna chase Volcanic Lightning. That'll get it. They needed that for the mentals. Now can Kentucky get more than that, or will things get turned around too much? There's a rotation out from Hades. Camazot's gonna get one. Hades hanging out. Will get picked off by Tyler. Fatal Strike was not quite used yet. He'll get a double kill. However, Tyler turning things around for Kentucky. That's massive.
Yes, what just happened is exactly what I said. They're not out of this game. You still have these pick potentials with the composition you've drafted. They punish Control for having such crazy positioning like they did last game. It's a Jingwei rather than a Kama for him this time. But just look at what did they do? They just went this dive under T2. And
I'm not with the dive. I'm not with that at all.
Yeah, you just threw everything you just worked for. I mean, you got the T1 tower. You do get that at the end of the day, and now these oracles are being fought over. You've got those, but you just went super over aggressive in a situation where you didn't need to, and now he's out of position again.
Control forgot he wasn't Camazot's and couldn't use Bat out of Hell and gets picked off by Froggy. Kentucky once again trying to get some more off the back end of things. They will find Wavy. This time Ares gets the credit for it, and they continue to push A&M away. But A&M not going to take too much of a bait quite yet. They're not going to lose too many in that fight, which is smart because that's how Kentucky get their way back in. If they keep getting these picks, if 2 turns into 3 in a fight, that's how they do it. Gold Fury being started, blink forward from the Hades. Can he get the steal? Pillars of Agony. No escape used. Timing going to be perfect, but that actually brought destruction the way of Kentucky, and they lost one. Froggy will get a pick with some help from the Morgan, and Kentucky, through a slight misplay, are still managing to make things work. Morgan ultimate used, but kind of unnecessary. when it was used, they couldn't go for the chase, but Gold Fury now off the table.
Yeah, neither team can really step up to it. I mean, well, I guess Kentucky could have, but Rama doesn't have a lot of mana. Can be ganked easily because of that. And actually, round aside here is being looked at by Control.
At this rate, I mean, just build the hydrogen build Control if you're gonna play like this. My goodness.
This is insane. This is just insane. Like he just did that at the purple buff 2 minutes ago, dies for it. He does it again in the jungle at Oracles, dies for it. What does he do here? Oh, he gets rewarded by getting a kill.
Volcanic Lightning will make Control pay for being so aggressive in that dual lane. Another kill for Froggy, make it 4. Right side of the map, Texas A&M has pulled a Pyromancer. Tyler going to go in the back line and look for Ferendum, gets a Fatal Strike off. It's going to be a kill for the Achilles. 4 now, and they get the Pyromancer as well. That's massive for Kentucky. Finding a way to break that window open again. Can they get more off the back of it? Martikaris already on the way out. Achilles, second guess going in, but now dives forward. Morgan has left the party. Tyler may be really deep. That might be enough for Texas A&M to arrive and turn things, and it will. Tyler will pay. The team left Tyler out to die. They do get an Oni, however.
But they do get the Oni fear here, and let's think about it. I mean, look at that gold lead. It disappeared. I mean, we're back to even.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Yeah, and that whole thing for Kentucky, everything that just happened. I mean, everything that went bad for them in the first 5 minutes, it just caught back up the other way. The scales swung into their favor. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Control kind of really gave it to them a couple times in a row, but you can't just do that against a team known as the Giant Killers. You know that if you let them back into anything in any kind of way, they can turn us around and beat you down. I mean, and also, I mean, we're seeing why this Achilles gets picked so much for this guy. He's really, really going off as Tyler.
And Kentucky, they fought back from leads before. I mean, they came back from 7K down against Clemson. We saw them. I mean, they had the lead start last game, but every time they got knocked down, they crawled back up. And we're seeing it again this time. So you certainly can't count them out at any given point. And that plays to their strength, and it does play to their team comp. Control can attach forward, force the Aegis really early from Rama. The shots are going to do a lot. There's the knock-up, too. Control can make a quick work of this, but really doesn't need to follow up because the team is here. Rama not having a good time in that duo side.
How do you feel if you're Control right there? You know, the target's 1 HP, and then your jungler just wastes a blink.
Nobody respects the 1v1 anymore. It gets under my skin.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I miss the days of your jungler pulling up, seeing the 1v1, and they pause and they wait.
And then they blink on you after the fact, and then you die?
Yeah, but at least they waited, you know?
Yeah, at least they had the courtesy to, you know, respect the 1v1 before they, you know, cheaply kill you after the fact.
Exactly. See, now you're in my head. Texas A&M gonna run into Tyler once again. A tail we're familiar with. Fatal Strike gonna be forced out early, but they don't find the pick on the Achilles. He can survive for the time being. Rama back to lane. Jingwei once again waiting like a Camazotz. I mean, this is a cosplay at this point.
Yeah, let's see. What other gods have a long-channeled CC Moon ultimate that takes you to the air? Oh, Tigras!
Control takes the 1v2, has to airstrike away nearly instantly, and will be alright. Texas A&M will regroup over by the Primal Fury area, though it's not currently on the map. They certainly have established map dominance.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out Control's god pool for this season because, like, again, mentioning a character he can position with that has a CC Moon ultimate that can get him away or dive if he wants to. So another one's Martikaris that's on the other side. I guess in theory you could pick the Morgan if you have one of those on your team, but then you can also do it that way. What other gods could he pick to do the same exact positioning on?
You know? The options feel bigger than they should. I want to see him do it a more unique picks. They will have to wait. They're being boring. They're going to gank that Hades. Find a pick. Kentucky continue to claw back in. A return pick for all the ones earlier. I'd like to see an Apollo. I know it's not exact, but I feel like that could be interesting.
Yeah, it just takes so long to get off the ground, though. These other ones are just kind of the instant. Like,
Yeah.
it allows you to do things like that. So like, can't think of anything else. Like, yes, the Apollo, that makes sense. Cherno doesn't exactly do that because you have to fly to someone in the other team or go back down to the ground. Um,
Arachne. Got it.
yeah, easy peasy. If he's not playing it by next set, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be flaming him in the chat.
Arachne fits Control's playstyle to a T.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I might be cooking. You know, maybe I'm secretly the coach of Texas A&M.
You never know. You could be.
Might get a breakout in the mid lane. Death from above already used. Texas A&M still healthy though. Plenty good positioning if they want to take it or if they don't. Kentucky will regroup with 4 strong. Morgan off to the side. Morgan not going to be involved in this next fight. Texas A&M kind of have their pickings and their choosings of where they want to go.
I just want to say I did that whole bit just for Tempo in the chat to react the exact way he did. Oh my god.
Some Saturday night entertainment.
I did that on purpose. Sorry, Tempo. Love you, dude.
Morgan will pay. Joking alongside of it. He gets picked off in the mid lane. Gonna follow on to the Rama. Texas A&M clicking quickly. Pele gonna find Hades, however. Maybe Pele can turn things around. Tyler already low, not gonna be able to get that fatal strike off. Airstrike will be the answer, and Control will get a pick. Now Control gonna reset and use that teleport. Oh wait, not playing Camazons, not playing solo. Texas A&M will set back in the mid lane, but watch for the flank from behind. Pele will find a kill in that meantime. Now the flank works out, but can they find anything off of it from Ferendum? Or will Pele be able to get another kill off of it? Control has returned thanks to the passive of Jingwei, but they might just be able to find Ares if anything, unless Pele walks back to them. Ares will be dead, out of mana, kind of out of options. Easy kill for Texas A&M.
Yeah, it doesn't have a blink either. Cannot get out. Oh, but it did.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh, but he's walking back. He's saying, "Don't forget me, guys." He has to get back to base somehow.
I mean, he does, but he's also just sticking it. Okay, now maybe he's pressing that B button. Okay, yeah, he is. Okay, cool. Now he's got that health bar reset, but this Primal Fury is up on the board to be taken, but so is Stygian Beacon going to be up in just a minute too. So, I'm kind of expecting Maroon to go in with Raiders not being here quite yet and just forcing what they can.
Tyler trying to make another play happen, trying to help out his ADC, but his ADC is already taking a vacation thanks to Hades. Hades will make a play for it, but will eventually die themselves. Tyler gets another one. That's going to be the 6th kill for the Achilles. Control, taking on a 1v3, does have airstrike up. Will land back in the tower range, not going to go back to the tower for safety. Instead, we'll try to outrun them. Fatal strike on the Aegis. Buying time. Reinforcements arrive. No escape used. That's going to bring back the Jingwei ultimately for a death with Pele getting the credit. But speaking of credit, where it's due, that Jingwei, really good effort. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, 70k damage onto this Hunter, 8k more than the Rama so far in this game. And just because they're just playing solo lane on Jingwei. That's the only reason why it's this crazy.
Ooh, Surtur ADC.
Alright.
Maybe he's going to find that Morgan while Kentucky was doing the Morgan, and they will pick up... While Kentucky was doing the Morgan, excuse me, while they were doing the Primal Fury. Now I'm falling apart. This game's a mess.
Yeah, just imagine I've been up since 6:30 a.m. So
this is exactly the kind of game you want to
This is exactly the game I want to do. Yeah, exactly.
Broken.
Yeah,
we gave it our all last game.
Yeah. We did. We put every ounce of energy we could into it.
We earned our fun.
Yeah, we did. We did. I would have to say that. I agree with that.
24 minutes around the corner. It is currently 17-20. Kills favor Texas A&M. They do have a gold lead. It's not significant, but the vibes have been significantly in favor of Texas A&M, which has kind of led to why we feel like we're taking jabs downward. But Kentucky are more than still in this game. They just got to clean up the edges of things, and I'm looking at the ADC role in particular. They might get a pick on Ferendum here in the solo lane. They probably will, just kind of caught out. Oh, Fatal Strike. Gonna hit the Ghost of Christmas Pass, but eventually Ferendum will fall. Froggy will get the credit.
Well, if you can't execute the past, you can't execute in the future, so might as well take a shot at it.
I've said that so many times, always catching people off guard. Finally, somebody's listening. I'm so appreciative.
If there's any people that'll do it for you, it'll be me and Supersonic Blur every single time.
Freezing's gonna find a pick on the Tyler.
Oh my god!
Kentucky getting real aggressive. Morgan gets wavy. That's 2 gone for Texas A&M. Control already used that airstrike and now is gonna fall victim to volcanic lightning in the form of the Morgan. But Morgan has to retreat out. Already done enough. Shut down pickup as well. Texas A&M down to 2. While Kentucky only lost 2. That brings us to a 20-22 game. Okay, that's a triple. All right, yeah, just walk at him. Why not? I'm so broken. Need an Advil.
I can't stop laughing. That was. I just.
Dude.
You see, like, I'm gonna get you. Oh, maybe I don't.
I literally was looking at that in the map and I was saying, that's not what's gonna happen. I can give my game state. Surely I can give my game state here.
And that's just a theory.
Fire Giant started up by Texas A&M. Tyler will be there to contest. Fire Giant's at half health, and Texas A&M going to focus on Tyler. Aries also on the way. Wavy will take out that camp. Good news for any camp haters out there. Texas A&M off the Fire Giant. Tyler's presence was enough for Texas A&M not to want to overcommit. But now they step back to it. Looks like they're going to put a lot of emphasis on this Fire Giant.
You said Tyler's presence, and I was looking for an item.
Where is it?
Yeah, I'm still looking.
That'd be like a breastplate upgrade, 100%.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a Glad Shield upgrade one day.
There's a blink from the Ares. No Escape gonna hit 2, but not before Hades finds 1. The Morgan will drop the Hades for it. Can they turn things like we saw before? Or will Death from Above be a bit too much to handle? Double kill for the Morgan before falling down. And Rama's gonna get his revenge arc started with his own kill as well. That's 3 dropped on the side of Texas A&M. Still fighting with Tyler. Ferendum makes him pay for it, but Ferendum could fall victim to an over-aggressive Rama, but not quite yet. Control is lurking, and Rama wants nothing to do with it, maybe? No, turns, gets a couple crits off, then dashes away. Not playing any more of those reindeer games. Meanwhile, by the way, Titans have been doing Titan things. The Chaos Titan always wins. If you didn't know that, if the Titans meet without any outside interference, the Chaos Titan will win because of cleave autos. So that's why it went all the way down like that. Tough time for Kentucky.
Yeah, unfortunate for Kentucky there, because all your energy spent into like winning that fight and turning around and knocking them down, and then you're just like, oh, we lose a Phoenix for it? It's definitely still worth it.
This has been quite the game. It's closer than it feels.
That's the crazy part. Is
the vibes are so off.
The first 8 minutes, it felt like, oh, this is going to be like a 21-minute game if they don't turn this around. And then what happens at 15 minutes? They turn it around. Like, they're 3K down right now, but like 26-23 on the kill board. Neither side has tier 1 towers. You only have 1 tier 1 tower for Kentucky on the left-hand side. The Maroon does have all 3, and they are going to take this Fury down as well.
I would wonder a lot what the comms were like for these two teams, if they were very different. If the comms were calm, or if the comms were more serious, more, you know, in the moment.
It does make me wonder that. Yeah, that is a great point. Like, how were they in this moment? What exactly was Ferendum's like talking about? What exactly was the front line for Kentucky thinking about what direction they can take? I mean, there's a lot of thoughts that could be had, or maybe they're just completely quiet as well. You never know. Some teams are more quiet when they're down like this, and then they come back and they're vocal, but then they're slightly even, so they don't stay quiet as well. I don't know. It's really weird. Every team's comms can be completely different.
I like to imagine that Control would say things like, I have Assassinate up, I'm going Invis, and then Ferendum would say, okay, wait, you're playing Jingwei. And Control would say, oh, I'm using No Escape, and I'm using Bat Out of Hell next. And the rest of Texas A&M is like, all right, man, you do you, Control, we trust you. Control gets a quadra or something, and they're like, all right, what you use? And he's like, oh, I used my decoy.
Yeah, decoy insta executed all 4 of them.
Using the Circuit Kiss as well.
Yeah, exactly.
His UI looks like an MMO board.
Yeah. So you drop the Dharmic pillars, and then what you do is you rend, right, and then after that you just profit.
Control's playing the sound through their speakers, and everybody hears your Mirror ultimate. Everyone's confused. Turns out Control was also playing on a Switch at the same time.
Could have been. The way they've been operating, they just could have been accidentally showing up at these corners in mid lane at green buff at 10 minutes. They're like, oh crap, I was playing Animal Crossing, and here I am, what do I do now? Oh yeah, press 4, cool.
You hear the sounds of a Terra raid going on. Oh goodness, alright, 30 minutes. EFG's on the table, and both teams are stepping around as the dance has commenced. Tyler's pretty aggro right now, could look to pull something, start something. Kentucky not quite comfortable following up, and Tyler took a lot of poke for it, so he'll have to step away. Fire minions are pushing down that solo lane, but with solo lane being the one down, always easy to defend when Fire Giant's up.
Yeah, right now, looking DJs over there having to be on clear duty. Probably the best option because you want this Pele in the fight with their kit, but bat out of hell used by Wavy after really winning the trade against those two. I mean, they lost health bars and he just lost an ultimate.
Kentucky will step back and reset. Tyler's still standing aggressive, ready to try to set up. That's been the MO of Kentucky. Tyler sets up. Ares goes aggressive behind the aggro of the Achilles and tries to make a play happen from it. And the Morgan constantly has been turning into Pele to make plays happen with all this poke. That might not be an option, as the Morgan's already almost dropped. Will he transform too late? Yes, Ferendum will get the credit for it. Rama Snipes come out as well for safety. They're going to lose their Ares too. Kentucky fell asleep at the wheel, and they're paying the price. There will be a return kill from the Rom, but not before a double kill for Wavy. Tyler will clean up Control, who was doing Loki things in the background. But now Tyler has to get away. He will fail to do so, and Texas A&M will get themselves a deicide.
They do. Do they have enough time to run down mid and end this game? We're about to find out. They do have Monchikaras, not the fastest auto attacker in the game. Does have the passive up at this moment, so won't have it for this Phoenix. That might be unfortunate here, but let's see what happens here. How much damage is he doing? 93 per auto here. 186 now. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Thanks to the bomb, it looks like the possibilities are here. 10 seconds until anybody's up. It's going to be the 3 on the Titan. Ferendum steps in. If they trade the aggro right with the help of Frenzy, it should be enough. The closest person will be the Morgan. Titan down to a quarter. Morgan respawns with some help. They go in for the defense. Might be too little, too late, and it will be. Texas A&M sweep the set. Kentucky, Giant Killers, no more for the moment. Texas A&M can celebrate.
Yeah, they can. They get the 2-0 here. I mean, a very, very hard fought first game going to 54, 55 minutes. This game, it felt like in the beginning, like they could do no wrong. They were getting every good luck factor, and then all of a sudden, 15 minutes, Kentucky looks like they're starting to get their footing. They're starting to put their foot on the gas and really fight them. And then after that, it just became about consistent team fights. Look. We see why Tyler on this pick, this Achilles, is a great idea. We see why he's played it 3 times now, between kickoff tournament and this set here. But I just got to say, when you have an ADC like Control, yes, he goes 5-7. I get it. But he created so much chaos and so
Control did create chaos at so many different points. That is for certain. And we'll wait for Majin to come back here from a bit of a Discord issue. We can continue talking about Control and what Control brought, and it really was just disgusting. And the response from the response from Kentucky, unfortunately, did leave a lot to be desired, but there's a world where there is a lot they can look at from this game going forward and what they can change as we continue on. It was a close one between the two in game number one. It was a dramatic matchup for sure, but unfortunately for Kentucky, their set ends in a sweep. That shouldn't be the end of their strong understanding. Their strong. I mean, they're called giant slayers for a reason. That is not something to be overlooked and understated. And there's a lot of potential there. I think really you can almost look past game two and focus in on game one in reviews and what made that game feel so possible and how you almost held on and build from those strengths. Looks like we won't be hearing from Majin as we do head to the end of our stream tonight. It has been a fantastic stream, with game two being a bit lackluster and different in comparison to game number one. It was still a fantastic set with a lot of action brought from both of these teams, but Texas A&M Maroon does ultimately get the better of Kentucky on this night. Going forward, Kentucky will have a lot to improve, but they can certainly do it. My name has been Anthony Mellum. I was joined by MajinBuusha, and Ferendum was running production and did it oh so well. Like Majin said, keep your eyes out for 6 p.m. on Monday. We'll see you next time on AGL.